Hi guys, Mark Frederick here, La Charcuterie Anglais, more Q&A. In fact, I've been busy today with Q&A, so I'm still in the same shirt and I'm in my allotment, just in a different position. Here you can see some sunflowers that we grow for the birds. So when they turn to seed, they've got something to, to eat during the autumn months and into the winter months. And they, in the background, you can see my neighbour's allotment with a ladder leading up against her shed. But they're but this is all part of my allotment. Well, this is part of it anyway. So just to give you a bit of a view. So anyway, let's get on with the question. I've had a few people ask me this, so there's no names to offer because I've had several people been asking the same question, and that is what's the best British traditional native pig to use for for charcuterie. And there's so many answers to this question. Because there's no straightforward answer, and it all depends on what type of charcuterie you're going to make, and as to what pig is the best choice for you. In my opinion, this is, of course, all right, everybody, it's just my opinion, nobody else's, because I can say something and somebody can disagree, and I'm fine with that, and there's no issues with that. But let me go through some of the breeds, and maybe that will help that way. I'll try and break it down as to why they could be a good choice for you. And let's have a look at Gloucester Old Spot. Well, that is a fantastic all-rounder, and if that's what you're looking for, an all-rounder, then it's a real good choice to have for many reasons. And one of the reasons is the build of the pig. They're slow growing, of course, like most of the breeds, and then the shape and the conformity suits butchery and charcuterie right through and through for hams and bacon, and you've got good tasty sausage meat with good fat content. More importantly, they're lop-eared. The pigs are lop-eared, so their eyes are covered with their ears very often. So they bump into things quite easily, and they're not disturbed by that. And which helps, particularly if you're new to pig keeping. You can go in the pen with these pigs, all lop-eared pigs, by the way, and when you bump into them or they bump into you, they don't show alarm. There's no huge squealing and running away and jumping into electric fences and all that sort of thing. They're quite lethargic, and they just carry on as per normal, which is great for pig keeping. And if you like I said, if you're new to it, you become more comfortable with pigs with lop ears a lot easier than other breeds of pigs. So for that reason, it's a good choice. And like I say, all the meat content is fab. It's commonly known as the orchard pig, as they say the black spots on the pig are like from fallen apples, which is just a fairy tale, of course. And but it makes a good story. There's good provenance behind Gloucester Old Spots, and yeah, there's a lot going for them. Large black is just like a Gloucester Old Spot, but it's about the same size actually. But of course it's all black, and again it's lop-eared. It's not too bad. I don't favour them as much as Gloucester Old Spots, but they are good for hams. I'll say that. They make good ham pigs, and again, if you're in the pen with them, if you bump into them, they're not too bad. So ham and bacon, yeah, they're pretty good. So moving on quickly, Oxford Sandy and Black. There again, they're a good all-rounder. Very similar to the Gloucester Old Spot, and they offer ham, bacon, and sausage meat. Absolutely fine. Conformity, size, slow growing. You get the best out of them, and so there's very similar there. Then you got like the Wessex pig or the British Saddleback. So that's like a smaller pig, but black with a strap around its middle, and they're good for pork, shall we say. It's going to sound ridiculous, that, But some pigs are better at delivering pork, whereas some pigs are better at delivering sausage meat. And I know that sounds a bit odd. And some are better at delivering bacon and hams. So, but in my opinion, the British Saddleback is a great pig for offering top quality pork, and that's the way you should look at that pig. And Tamworth, or let's talk about Tamworth, because Tamworth pigs, they look longer than other pigs, and in some cases they are narrower, and so is the eye of the meat. The eye of the meat is like this, okay, rather than with a Gloucester Old Spot where it's round, okay. So, you know, a bit like that. That's the easiest way I can describe it. However, with the Tamworth, and again, in my opinion, the taste is unbelievable. Probably the best tasting pig we've got. I would say, all right, and they're good for many things. When you make bacon from them, your bacon looks poor because it looks like there's not a lot of meat and it's more fat. But remember, with charcuterie, you need a lot of fat for certain products, and it makes the most divine rillette de pork French product, which is basically confit and shredded pork in a jar like a pate, but it's not a pate, all right? Remember, it's not a pate, it's a rillette. At R-I-L-L-E-T-T-E, rillette. Of course, for those who may not know in French, anything with a double L, you drop the pronunciation, so and then it then becomes rillette. And so anyway, yeah, fantastic tasting pig. The only downside to Tamworth is they're prick-eared. All right, so their ears are facing up rather than down over their eyes, so they're very alert. All right, probably the most alert of all our pigs, and they can cause you all kinds of problems. And some days you can go out there to feed your pigs, you find they're not there, they've just walked right through the electric fencing and they've gone for a walk. But unlike a Gloucester Old Spot, if it breaks through its electric fencing, it's probably just fast asleep under a tree about 50 yards away. That's the beauty of Gloucesters, they don't wander off. But the Tamworths, they'll go for miles. And you've heard about the Tamworth twins, many years ago, that were in the main media at the escape from somewhere. I don't know if it was an abattoir or something, and they ended up on the running right across southern parts of Britain, and they took many weeks to capture. And they are like that. And when I was farming in France, I actually managed to get hold of some Tamworths, and which was a novelty for all my neighbours to see. Come and see these ginger pigs. They'd never seen ginger pigs before in their life, especially when I took them down to the abattoir. When their time came to go to the abattoir, the production stopped while all the butchers came out to view these live. Then. Bloody Tamworth pigs, and the discussion that was going on about the colour was amazing, and it was quite a while. It delayed me enormously. I think it added about 2 hours extra to my day because everybody wanted to come and look at these ginger pigs in the abattoir. But anyway, yeah, they'll cause you problems, but they're a great pig, and you've got to be fit, because you'll do a lot of running, looking after them. So. What other pigs have we got? Well, there's some pigs we're missing because they don't exist any longer. We've got the Hereford pig, which was like a hairy pig. That's sadly that's gone. There used to be I'm pretty certain there used to be a Cumberland pig as well. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the form of that pig, whether it was smooth coated or not, coarse haired. Probably coarse haired, given the how cold it is up there. And then there was a Lincolnshire curly coated, which is a bit similar to like the Hungarian Mangalitsa pig. Again, it's extinct. They're like pigs with in sheep's clothing, like the Hereford, but the Hereford wasn't curly coated. It was long coated, shaggy type of thing. But like I said, it doesn't exist anymore. That pig. So we've lost quite a few breeds. The Berkshire pig. Now, This is an interesting pig. The Berkshire. It's the smallest of our traditional breeds, the British breeds, and it's black with 4 white socks and a tail, that tip on its tail. So it's like looks really cute, and it's the quickest finisher of all our traditional pigs. It's smaller, but it finishes quick, and this is one of those pork pigs. So if you're looking to stick to pork products like pork pies, pork sausage, and pork this, pork that, then the Berkshire is a fantastic choice, purely because it's manageable. It's a good size. It's not too heavy to throw over your shoulder when you need to get it on the block, and you get into money quicker because of the finishing time on these is a lot quicker than other traditional breeds. They take that much longer. So it's a really good choice. And a little story to tell on the Berkshire. I can't remember when it was exactly. I may have been in the 1800s, but I'm not certain. And but a Japanese emperor was visiting UK, and he got gifted some Berkshire pigs, which he took back to Japan at the time, and he named them. He gave them a Japanese name. I think it called Kurabuta, which translates as the black pig. If my memory serves me right. But the Kurabuta has spread over Southeast Asia, and they're very, very famous. And so wherever you see on the menus in Asia, Kurabuta pork, it's actually Berkshire. It's the Berkshire pig, and it's held in the highest regard. You pay top dollar for Kurabuta pork, around Asia, and they're you'll pay almost twice as much as what you would for conventional pork for what they are. So marketed correctly, the Berkshire pigs can really serve you well. So what else have we got? So we mentioned Gloucester Old Spot, large black, Oxford Sandy black. There's the Welsh pig. That's a white pig. That's lop-eared, and has got good conformity. And we shouldn't forget the lamb race. Does the lamb race come from UK? Then we've got the what we call the Yorkshire pig. What's a big white commercial breed of pig? I'm just trying to. It's got another name, hasn't it? All right, let me skip over that one a bit. And then we've got the forefather to the Welsh pig, which is the it's now called the British lop-eared pig, and that's a white pig, and that it comes from Devon. It used to be called the Devon lop pig, or the Devon lop-eared, I can't remember, but it's mainly from around the Tavistock area, which is on the border to Cornwall. So I used to get the same breed of pig in Cornwall. So when it was in Cornwall, it was called the Cornish white, and but in Devon it was called the Devon lop, but it was the same pig. And I think via history somehow, but when you think about where North Devon lies to South Wales, there's just a short stretch of water to Wales, and I think somehow these pigs have made their way to Wales, and they eventually got called the Welsh pig. So I believe, So they're a great pig. I used to use a lot of those actually, and being a white pig, you're halfway there straight away, because as you know, no matter what the colour of the pig, we all know in the trade, they all end up bloody white anyway, pink, So they, through the culling process and everything, once they've been slaughtered and everything, they all end up being the same colour. Hard to define, albeit with a large black, sometimes you can find large black hairs sometimes on the meat, which can be unattractive, but you can easily burn those off. And if you're using a burner, by the way, to burn hairs off, you shouldn't be using blue flame, all right? You need to drop it down so as the flame is trickling, and you use the yellow part of a flame. So you got to imagine back in the old days when they used to burn pigs on straw, on top of straw. They would get like a bundle, a thick, like a thicket. Would they call it a thicket, or a faggot or something like that, where it's like a little bundle of straw, light it, and the flame would like trickle down, and it'd be a very soft flame, yellow flames, and they would run that across the body of the pig, you know. But, look at me, I'm the size of a pig, aren't I? But so they would run that, you know, across the body of the pig, and that would burn all the hairs off. And you can do the same with poultry as well, actually. And so it's the soft flames you need. So when you get a gas burner out, because everything seems to be modern equipment today, don't use the hard blue flame. All right, you're just going to, you know, cook and destroy the skin. You just need to burn the hairs off, and that's what you need is a yellow flame. Oh, you got that bloody middle white pig with a flat face. Again, they're a good pig, a good pork pig actually, a very good pork pig. The only downside to those pigs really is when you're dressing the head. It really is a pain in the backside to get, as we've spoken about, de-hairing, to get the hair off the face because of the shape of the face and the squash face. So you've got that as well. I don't know if I've missed any other pigs off the top of my head, but like I said, it's all horses for courses. So you know, all rounders, general pigs, Gloucester, Oxford Sandy Black, and then you go into Hammer Bacon pigs, so your large black, you know, and so forth, and then your magical little pork pig, you know, your Berkshire, which tends to be a favourite. Avoid all these pygmy pigs that have been brought into the country, and coonies. Coonies, crikey, when you butcher those, I don't know if anybody's butchered a cooney, but bloody hell, it's like trying to get through bloody armour, the skin on a cooney. It's, you know, bloody skin is bloody thick as anything, really hard, difficult. I mean, the meat's fantastic, I have to say, when you get to the meat, and it makes for bloody great ham. And in fact, we processed one at Tam at Southrop, when we used to run courses at Tam at Southrop, and there we did a cooney, and it went on to serve the visitors of the cookery school for it seemed like a couple of years. We're always bringing it out to serving snacks and so forth, because we used to feed the guests as well, of course. So that's how I got my experience on coonies was there at Tam at Southrop. But yeah, I think that's all the pigs covered. So the choice is yours. I expect you're none the wiser now I've told you all this. So experiment, play around with the breeds, you know, and yeah, bring a few on, get them processed. You know, whatever breed you choose, you're going to enjoy the experience. So and I'm a great believer in traditional breeds, and in fact, I can be a bit of an anorak sometimes about it. And a lot of people with breeds, they tend to cross them. So like they'll cross a Tamworth against a Gloucester Old Spot or vice versa. And we call these F1 crosses, okay? So my view on F1 crosses, whether it's pigs or cattle or things like that, I still think it's a good thing, because on the left hand, you know, there's my left hand. The left hand, you've got a traditional breed, and then on my right hand, it's actually still my left hand, actually. My right hand, you've got another traditional breed. So you're keeping the traditional breeds left and right, and just bringing them together to make your F1s. So I'm happy with that. Once you start breeding away from the once you start breeding F1s into more F1s, then you're diluting everything we've had for you know, for thousands of years, you know. So please don't do it, you know, but by all means breed and make your own F1s, your own variations, but by using 100% bloodlines left and right. So that way we can keep the bloodlines going. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information. If I've missed any pigs, I apologise. I'm doing all this off the top of my head, and you know, if you've got any questions you need to ask direct, by all means fire your questions away privately, and I'll try and answer them if I can. I try to help everybody, so you know, I won't be avoiding you if it takes a while. And yeah, that just leaves me to say, please like and share if you're into that type of stuff. But if not, just drop down, you know the score by now, go down there and make me a coffee, buy me a coffee. That's my fundraising link. It helps to pay for these videos and to offer all this information, and also it helps in other fundraising areas. So please do that if you don't mind. And yeah, until the next time, toodaloo.